Long Island Boaters Club, and this is another edition of On Board. Today we're going to discuss how to change your motor oil and your engines. Now I have a Rinka which has Mercruisers, so first thing you're going to need is some oil. In my case I'm using Mercruiser oil. This is 2040 oil. This is what's called for my engine. What I would say is check your owner's manual or your dealer, make sure you have the right stuff for your boat. The tools that you're going to need to accomplish this job is either a pony pump with two hoses, one that will go into the drain and one that goes onto the dipstick, because that's where you're going to be pulling the oil out from. Now you could go to Lowe's or Depot and they sell this little pump that attaches to a drill, and this will do the same thing as well. You do need the channel locks because you want to make sure that everything's tight on it so you get a good seal. So what we're going to do right now is go to the back of the boat. We're going to start the engines, let it run, heat up a little bit, and then continue to change the oil. So come on with me, let's start. Okay, now we're going to be changing the motor oil inside the engines. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to heat up the engines, let the oil get a little hot so it's easier to come out from the pump, because we have to pump it out from the top. So what I did is I hooked up my hose to the water outlet where the water pumps up. These pair of ears, they call it. Goes right over the outdrive like that, and that's going to keep the engines cool. That's your cooling system for the engine. And I'll turn the hose on, I'll start the engine, let it run for about 10 minutes, and then I'm going to shut it down, pump the oil out, and I'm going to show you how we do that. Okay, I started the engine. You're going to get a little smoke as we fog out the engine at the end of the year. That's what we're going to clear out. Now it's running, I'm just going to let it heat up. Once it heats up, then I'm going to continue to change the oil. Okay, we're back here in the engine compartment, and we're going to be changing the motor oil in the engine. Now we heated up the motors, we let it get a little warm so the oil gets a little lighter so we can suck it out, because on the Merc or on most boats you have to pump out the oil from the top. So what I use is a pony pump. They do sell a whole different system in Marine Max, or if you go to West Marine they'll have it as well. Any marine supply place will have a pump to pump it out. One end is like a hose, and that's going to fit over the dipstick. You're going to pull out the dipstick, come in over here. Once the dipstick is out, there's going to be a little grooved, like sort of like a garden hose hookup. Got that? Okay. Now we're going to take this end of the pump and we're going to screw that right onto there. And you got to be careful because there is wires here for your alternator. You want to make sure it's on tight because you want to have a seal on there. So you will need a channel lock just to tighten it up. Another good thing to do is on your batteries, just shut them down so there's no current going through, because there is a positive right here and this is negative. Okay, once that's tight, my pump is hooked up to a drain tank. Here's your drain tank. And then we just turn the pump on and it's going to suck it out and into the drain tank until we're totally full. So we turn the switch on. After your pump is hooked up, you might want to loosen up the oil cap just to put some ventilation in there so some air will come in as you're sucking out the oil. And we're just about done now, and as if you lift it up, you can actually see it spitting. That would indicate that you're pretty much at the bottom. You're not going to get much more out. You're pretty much sucking air. So what I'm going to do right now is I'm going to shut the pump off. I'm going to remove this from the oil dipstick and then put the oil in. Get it off. I got my funnel, and that's where the oil goes in. Now before I replace the oil, I got to change the filter. So what I have is a filter wrench, and this will remove the filter. What I did to try to keep things clean, because you're always trying to keep things clean, is I got a coffee case. I put the other filter in there, and I'm going to do the same thing. I'm going to loosen this up. Once again, trying to keep this clean, I tuck the rag underneath like that, so if it does come out the oil, which it will, it'll drip into the pail, and then I'll be able to put the filter in there. Some things you can't avoid. You Try to do it fast. Okay. Now when it comes to putting a new filter on, once again I'm using all Merc parts. You can use other ones from the auto parts store. It is a Chevy engine, 305. Depending on yours, you can get the same one from the auto parts store, but I go with the Merc. Now before you put this on, you want to get some lubrication on there, so you want clean oil. The reason why you use clean oil is you don't want there to be any kind of soil, dirt, or anything in there when you put the seal on, so it makes a good seal. With your oil filter, you don't want to use the wrench. It's just hand tight. There will be some vacuum that makes it tighter as well, and then you'll really have problems getting it off next season. Once that's all tight, then you're all ready to replace the oil. Get that out of the way. Now I got a gallon, which is 4 quarts. It's going to take about 5 quarts of oil. Now the Mercruisers recommend 25, 40 weight oil. But check your owner's manual, make sure you put the right oil in the engine. We'll talk to your dealer. Okay, I just put 4 quarts of oil in. Now what I have to do is run the motor, let the oil go up to the filter, fill up the filter, and then check the oil again. Okay, I'm back at the top of the motor. I turned the hose on so I got the water flowing into the motor so we don't burn out any C pumps. Start the motor. Just going to let it run for about 30 seconds, enough time for the oil to go through the motor and into the filter. And I'm going to check it once again and cap it off with whatever I need, maybe like a half a quart, we'll see. And you can see it's full. So the oil's all changed, the outdrive gear oil is changed, so that's all good. We're all ready to go with the fluids in the engine. We did the zincs. The next step is going to be cleaning off the boat, compounding it. I'm going to take you through some steps on what I do with that. Once again, I'm Eddie, I'm from Long Island Boaters Club. I'll see you next time.